Hey everyone, this is Joshua Kirk here with you once again. Now it's time for episode 79 of Album of the Day. And as you can see, I'm wearing my old Get Rock t-shirt a couple years later because the amazing thing is it still fits. And I would just like to thank Yep Rock for the continued years of support that they've given me with all the with all the great music they send me, and just thank you very much, Yep Rock. So anyway, let's get on to the review. Today I'd like to talk about a singer-songwriter who was born in Omaha, Nebraska, who started out playing music in the punk band Heat Miser, and then started, doing his own music, recording it on 4-track, and he ended up releasing a few pretty successful solo records, like pretty shortly after, Heat Miser broke up in 1996. The singer-songwriter is one of the late greats of both the indie and modern music scene, Elliott Smith. I'm here to review his fourth album, released in 1998, his first one on a major label, in this case that being DreamWorks Records. And the album is called XO, and I got this CD at Soundgarden, but this is one of the few CDs that I got there that is not used. This is a brand new copy. It was only $6, so I figured I'd get it. But anyway, let me show you what it looks like. And this is the first time he's ever worked with outside producers. In this case, that being Tom Rothrock and Rob Stoff, who have worked with Beck. And Rob Stoff actually worked with Dr. Dog on their album Shame Shame, one of my favorite albums by them. And their first album with Anti, for those who didn't know. But it makes sense. He worked with those people because they mixed his album Either Or, which was pretty much his breakthrough album. And sorry about my voice. It's got something in my throat. But this has the lyrics and the liner notes in here, and the running time of this record is just about 45 minutes. So it's pretty short for a 14-song album. And there's the CD. And the thing that holds in the disc is pretty cool because it's got like an X on there, and it looks like some, colored photograph of a CD case tray with like a black O in the center. It's kind of cool. And that's my CD copy of XO. So now I'm going to talk about the songs on here. What I like about this record is that it shows how just because you signed to a major label and just because you all of a sudden won an Oscar for the song Miss Misery off Good Will Hunting, that movie, doesn't mean you can't sacrifice your art. And Elliott Smith definitely keeps his art intact on this record. That's what I love so much about this record. It shows that, success doesn't have to mean, taking your, doesn't have to mean giving up your, your sense of artfulness. And some really good lyrics on this record. For example, on the opening track, Sweet Adeline. I mean, just right away, those first few lines pull you right in with, cut this picture into you and me, burn it backwards, kill this history, make it over, make it stay away, or hate'll sing the ending. That love started to say, just, those lyrics just slay me when I hear them. And plus, Elliott Smith's also really good at, layering his vocals on here, which he definitely does a lot of that on this record. Um, for example, on the second song on here, Tomorrow, Tomorrow. Really just a beautiful song, and it's pretty much the only song on the record where like guitar is the only instrument compared to some of his older works. So it shows that this album has pretty much everything that is good about Elliott Smith's past albums, but then pairing it with some, more broke pop-esque production on here. Like, it definitely has kind of a Beatlesy feel to it on tracks like the lead single on here, Waltz number 2, XO. And I like how this song, it is sad, but at the same time has a little bit of hopefulness to it, especially with that lyric, I'm never gonna know you now, but I'm gonna love you anyhow. And a really great, pop song. Like, Elliott Smith's, definitely got two sides to him. He's got this one side that's, pretty lo-fi and has very dark and very, kind of depressing lyrics. But then you have this other side, which has still some of the dark lyrics, but then has a bit more of a brighter production thing going on, and has more of a poppy thing. I mean, so that shows that he's also really great at making a fantastic pop record too. Another example of that would have to be the song "Baby Britain," which has this kind of George Harrison-esque guitar riff going on. But then it also has a few unusual touches. It has the use of a mandolin on the bridge, which I think sounds pretty nice on here. Like, Elliott Smith pretty much played all the instruments on this record, even though he did have a little bit of help on this record from people like the producers, an orchestra, and Los Angeles musicians John Bryan and Joey Waronker too. And the song Pitseleh deals with kind of a troubled relationship. Obviously this person is dealing with this kind of struggle that's kind of making her want to give up the thing she loves. And this is obviously a song about how, we all deal with, the anger of troubled relationships, and really just a beautiful song. And, has kind of a dry vocal performance on it. It kind of reminds me of stuff from Either Or a little bit. And then you have Independence Day. And Independence Day may be the title of the song, but it's not a song about the 4th of July, even though the title might suggest it. Instead, it's pretty much about something else. It's basically the narrator's reflecting on a past, relationship that's pretty much been failed, and reflecting on how he once was kind of like that person. And now he feels a little more that person is gone, but yet he feels a little more independent without that person. And this one has a pretty unusual touch on it too. It has the use of a drum loop provided by Tom Rothrock. Basically what happened was, Elliott Smith played a little drum fill, and then basically, Tom basically chopped up those tracks on the computer and created a little weird loop, which, actually makes a pretty nice beat on the song to pair with its pretty simple other instrumentation of just vocal, guitar, and electric piano, and maybe a bass on there too. And then there's Bled White, which has a really fantastic drum performance from Joey Waronker on it. And has kind of a it starts out, like, the beginning of the song starts out a little more kind of radio friendly, but then once the drums come in, it sounds a little less radio friendly than it does like in the beginning with its opening guitar riff. And then there's the dreamy but yet very achingly gorgeous Waltz number 1, which once again contains some pretty sad lyrics that kind of fit in with kind of the stripped down sound of this track, and some real and plus some very lovely Chamberlain and vibes work from John Bryan appears on this song. Like the first song has John Bryan, a Los Angeles musician, appearing on here, which he's pretty heavily influenced by Elliott Smith, so it makes sense he's on here to perform. And then there's the song Amity, which I guess kind of talks a little bit about, kind of a past, a girlfriend that he's had, and it's basically about kind of, it's basically kind of about how they kind of interacted and how they kind of, found life hard, and it's kind of musically a pretty stripped down, rock song. The song "Oh Well, Okay," its lyrics are pretty dark. Like it does, deal with kind of a pitch black mind and an airless cell, and a really beautiful dobro solo on it from Elliott Smith. As well as some pretty, sad, and as well as a pretty sad cello line on it too. And then there's the song "Bottle Up and Explode," which again has some really brilliant drum work from Joey Waronker and some really nice Chamberlain from John Bryan on here. So this is the one album that shows that even though he is working with outside producers and musicians on here, they still don't sound overproduced. They actually sound like they work for kind of the recordings of the song. So this is one album where I feel the outside production works for this one-time indie artist, pretty much. And the song "A Question Mark" has a really cool saxophone on it. The song "Everybody Cares, Everybody Understands" is definitely one of the standouts on here. The lyrics on it are really great. And then I love that instrumental part at the end with that really killer Chamberlain solo, and and I love that part at the end where the strings just kind of rise up and get real cinematic by the end. Just really just a fantastic song. And then it closes with the track "I Didn't Understand," which is a beautiful song that's basically no instruments, basically Elliott Smith multi-tracking and layering his vocals into one just beautiful piece of music, and it closes out the album just in the best way that it possibly could. So yeah, this album is just filled with just some very well-crafted pop songs with some very kind of, deep and, lyrics with a lot of substance. So I'm definitely going to give this one a 9 out of 10. It is just a fantastic record. And I highly recommend this self-titled album. That's pretty much how I started getting into him, was that really fantastic lo-fi record. But yeah, XO is a really great album, so I highly recommend this too. That's my review of the album. I'll see you for episode 80.